The history of this library goes back to 1890, when it opened as a subscription library. It continued right through the Anglo-Boer War and continued for about 20 years thereafter. After the Great Depression, the committee of the subscription library decided or agreed that the library should become part of the city of Johannesburg. This building was opened in 1936. Before that, they were in Kirk Street. So they were in several buildings, but this were let's say, the final building for this grand library. The architecture of this building is quite interesting. It's based on the neoclassical style, which means that it has elements of the Renaissance in it, Roman and Greek architecture in it. And as you walk through the building, you will notice some of the old neoclassical features in the building. When you move outside of the building, you will see that there are 9 figures, statues attached to the building. They go back to the 9 Greek muses, where each muse represented a discipline or a part of knowledge at the time. So those are interesting to see the reference to even in the architecture to the Greek way of thinking. In 1970s, the library was opened to all races, which at that time was quite remarkable because South Africa was still under the nationalist government. But the library decided that they had to share the knowledge, and that knowledge should be made available to everybody. Hence, it became an inclusive library at the time. After about 70 to 80 years, we found that we were running out of space. And so the library had to extend, and we had to get extra floors and extra space to make provision for the larger numbers of people coming to the building. One of the major purposes of the renovation of this building was that we could move into the electronic era. We needed more space for people to sit and use their laptops. And we would also supply computers free to the public so that they could access the World Wide Web. We've got the MOVE education system where people study various short courses like project management, marketing and so forth using the World Wide Web. In spite of the digital age, the library is still well used because many of the academics and teachers insist that students are exposed to hard copies and books in themselves, because you cannot find everything on the World Wide Web. And often your students aren't always aware how to discriminate between the good and the bad that you find on the web. And so there is still a demand for books, hard copies, but yet at the same time we do need to move into the web and make that available to our users. This library is important because of its special collections that it houses. The collection and the publications in this collection are quite rare. So there are publications going back to the 16th century dealing with geography, botany, zoology of Africa. There are maps going back several centuries as people perceived or thought the continent looked like. And many of the books are so rare that they are irreplaceable. Personally, for me, this is an incredible library. It means a lot to me, and I think it could be meaningful for most or even all South Africans, for the simple reason it is so comprehensive. It covers so many interesting and amazing subjects that you can think of. In addition, we also have newspapers that goes back 100 years. We buy newspapers, we bind them, and we keep them there for people to go back into their own history, because newspapers are really a commentary of your contemporary history. And it can be very exciting going back 50 years, 20 years, 10 years ago, and just see what people thought, how they wrote, how they expressed themselves. History is important, and what is important for a public library is that you would try and include all the different perspectives on history in the same building, so that you can have all different points of view at the same time. And history is important because it tells you where you come from, how things developed, what is good, what is bad. The good you will perpetuate, and the bad you will try and avoid in future.